Can you share with us if you ever got into gangs, or and how you got into gangs, and were you using drugs when you got into gangs?
Yeah, so I started using drugs like around 11 years old because I started hanging around the wrong crowds.
So, Eddie, can you share with us where you grew up?
So I grew up in Napa, California.
And did you ever do drugs?
Yeah, I used to do drugs. I mean, I used to smoke a lot of weed. I used to drink a shitload. I mean, I used to do plenty of other things too.
Can you share with us if you ever got into gangs, or and how you got into gangs, and were you using drugs when you got into gangs?
Yeah, so I started using drugs like around 11 years old because I started hanging around the wrong crowds. I was always on the back of our block and stuff, and called Lincoln. You know what I'm saying? And I started hanging around, seeing gang members. And that's what I started looking up to. And because when I was young, I didn't have a father figure when I was a young kid, and so I started looking at them as my family. So I started hanging around the wrong crowds. I was young and I didn't know any better, so I started taking them as my brothers, my friends, or my so-called homies, what I used to call them. But I ended up growing up with them. We ended up being in the block, always kicking it and stuff, and we always would see older cats, hanging around the block, like 15, 20 deep in the back of the block, no fans and stuff, and they were all posting, with hoodies, red rags, everything, and me and my younger homies, we would always chill and stuff, and we started looking up towards them, it would be like about 10 of us, youngsters, and then we started always kicking, and we started, like us 10 dudes, we always, they treated each other like brothers because we always, we lived in apartments and stuff, we grew up together, and we ended up making a clique called East Lincoln, and next thing you know, we ended up trying to take it to another level because we started, we started throwing up a hood, it was just a hood at first, it was just a block, and next thing you know, we always see the Norteños, they were getting labeled, that hood was getting labeled as Norteño territory, so next thing you know, we started banging, because we started telling each other, like, hey, we gotta up this, because they're already labeling us as Norteños, so, let's just start clicking up with gangs, let's just start going to different sets and stuff, or, we started talking about it, so next thing you know, we would always kick it. And then, yeah, that's what ended up happening.
And at what age, again, did you start getting locked up?
I started getting locked up like around 14 years old was my first time that I got locked up. And after 14 years old, it started getting worse after that, man. It's just, honestly, I just started falling off, man. I started just, going bad, getting bad. I was locked up after like 8 times. I got locked up again, and like the 9th time or something like that, it was, they told me, hey, you gonna get sent away, and I was like, nah, I can't get sent away, and they told me I'm gonna get sent away, so I get sent away, I did 3 months in juvenile hall, and then I got sent away for like another 7, and so total I did 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 months or so, away from home, and in those 10 months, I got real bad because I got sent away over there by 40 minutes up from Reading, and it's like about 4 hours from here. And I was with different people, from out there, from Alameda County, from Sac County, from Contra Costa County, different counties and shit, And I was with Bloods, with Cribs, with Norteños, with Natives, different sets, And I started learning bad stuff with them. I started getting worse with them. They started teaching me bad things, and they started telling me, about straps and about this, you know. I was getting introduced to that shit, you know, and about drugs and, you know, how to, you know, do, you know, worse shit, you know. And I ended up coming back, and, you know, people saw me that I was a different person, you know. I was just like, I just came way more worse, you know. And I started, you know, dressing even worse, you know. Like, I used to dress like to the point like where I didn't care, you know. I was walking down the street with a red rag over my left side right here, and I would be, you know, walking, mug anybody, you know. I couldn't even walk down the street without not wanting to get in a fight, because if I see, you know, a rival gang member, you know, it's gonna pop off right there, you know. So I was to the point like, you know, where I was getting so bad, you know what I'm saying? It was just ugly at the time.
How old are you today?
I'm 22.
And are you still in the gangs?
No, I actually got out of gangs because I actually got arrested one. No, I ended up talking to some of the homies, and they ended up saying, you know, I wasn't kicking in. You know, they were saying some other shit that, you know, irrelevant, but I ended up, you know, saying, you know what, I'm out this, you know, like, ended up moving and stuff, and, you know, trying to get better in my life, you know what I'm saying?
And was it easy separating yourself from the gangs and the old lifestyle?
It wasn't, man. It wasn't, because honestly, they were, I honestly felt like I was going to die for that stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, we would kick it so hard, you know. We would always go, you know, looking for trouble and stuff, and I just thought they was family, you know, because I didn't really, you know, have my family like that, you know, supportive too much. And I always thought they was my family because I would always be going out in the streets, and they would always treat me like family. So I always thought, you know, that was my life, you know. I thought that I was gonna die for that. I thought I was gonna, you know, they were my brothers. I thought they were gonna ride for me till I died, you know.
Can you share with us a little bit of what it was like growing up with your family, you know, and what are some of the things that you remember that happened to you when you were growing up?
So I mean, when I was younger, I mean, my mom's was only there, and my brother and sisters were living there at the point, you know. But you know, they did good, you know. They was never into gangs, nothing like that. I was the one that was, you know, always the troublemaker. And I mean, my mom, I mean, my dad and my mom was together, you know what I'm saying? So there was not too much that I was able to, you know, do about that. My mom was trying to control me, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, obviously, you know, my father wasn't there, so I had to, you know, act like the man, you know. And that me as a you know, as a youngster, as a little kid, you know what I'm saying? I thought like, okay, that's manly, you know. I thought that's what I gotta be doing, you know, in the house, and try to control it, you know.
And what are some of the things that today you're doing different than you were doing before when you were living at home?
Well, today, I mean, I got my license, you know. I got my license for driving now, because I mean, I never even would have thought I would have got my license, you know what I'm saying? I went to school for barbering and stuff because I got arrested one time, and I ended up doing like 2 months in there. And one time there was a dude, he was cutting another dude's hair, and he ended up messing him up, you know. Make a long story short, I ended up helping him out, and I ended up telling him like, hey, you know what? Like, after like an hour, he's like, hey, you know what? He told me, he's like, hey bro, you cut hella good hair, you know, cut me up again next week. How long you gonna be here? And I told him, next thing you know, like, within those 2 months, I cut like about 60 heads, and they were saying that I was a barber there. You know, I never cut hair in my life. So I was just like, all right, cool. I mean, it's gonna take up my time. So I got out, you know, and then I ended up, you know, wanting to attend barbering school because of the fact, you know, I loved cutting hair. So I was just like, all right, cool. I'm gonna start cutting hair. So I went to school, completed school, and to this day, man, I got my license now for barbering.
That's awesome. What are some of the things that you see yourself in the future today?
Well, honestly, I mean, I got a bunch of plans. I mean, hopefully, you know, I want to get my own shop one day. You know, I want to end up, you know, start doing different things in my life. You know, make an impact on other people's lives, because I mean, I know my story ain't, you know, as simple as other people's. You know, because I've been through different things. You know, different roads. So it was a little harder, but I mean, if I can do it, I know other cats can do it. You know what I'm saying? And that route wasn't just the best route for me, you know, and I know it's not the best route for other people to be taking, because it's nothing to play around with, you know, it's your life, and I suggest, you know, make the right choices, you know.
How is your relationship today with your mother and your father? Is it different today?
Yeah, so I mean, with my mother, I mean, it's good. She's so supportive, you know. She's so surprised. She loves what I'm doing now to this day. You know, she supports me to the fullest. She's always there for me. You know, my family, they're all proud of me. You know, my dad, he's so supportive now. You know, he's been there for a while now. You know, he's been trying to, you know, push me to do good, and he's been teaching me stuff. You know, and he's been teaching me the ropes. You know, and I'm just grasping everything I can. You know, because I mean, everything he teaches me is good too. You know, so. I mean, I have a supportive family, and you know, I'm gonna keep on going and keep striving to, you know, till whenever, you know. Just.
Would you say that having a support system is very important in your life? Do you see value in that?
Yeah, I mean, I do see value. I mean, I honestly see that my parents, you know, have a big part of my life, because I mean, if I didn't have no parents in my life, I probably, you know, would have stayed in gangs. I probably would have, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I would have probably, you know, been in the streets right now, probably even homeless, because of the fact that, I mean, I don't have that type of support to, you know, like, let me know, like, hey, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. So, I mean, I honestly think that family has a big part in it, you know, because they keep you going, they keep you motivated, they tell you what you're doing from right or wrong, you know, and they keep you on your toes, honestly.
What's a word that you can give to the, you know, guys out there that are going through the same thing that you've been going through, you know, with drugs and gangs and stuff of that nature? What's a good word that you can give them?
Honestly, I say is motivation. You got to be motivated, you know, to keep on going, you know, because I mean, this life ain't easy, honestly, you know, and when you're going through ropes like that, I mean, shit, it's hard, man. Just gotta stay motivated.
How do you get your motivation?
Well, honestly, like, I mean, my dad's taught me a lot, you know what I'm saying? And he's taught me to look at videos, you know, on YouTube, and, you know, like Gary Vee, you know, Grant Cardone, you know, all those business guys. And I watch them, you know, and they say some motivational speeches, you know, and they tell you to keep on going, you know, work 15 hours, you know, keep on hustling, you're going somewhere, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that just watching that keeps me going, and keeps me striving for more. It makes me want to make more money. It makes me want to make businesses. It makes me want to, you know, keep on doing better things for myself, you know, because I know everybody got the talent, you know. It's just your decision if you want to, you know, go that far.
What's a word that you can give to the younger generation today?
You know, you probably just have to, you know, like I said, I think it's motivation, you know, and just hustle.
Thank you so much for your interview.